Right, cool. Hi, hello, yes.
Hello.
So it's Andy here for living in Greece, the continuous. Yes, excellent. So this is something that I've been thinking of doing for a while. We tried an interview with Frankie and Timmy. I'll put the link to that video up here. So that's Canadians living in Greece, and today I'm deeply honoured to be sitting here with Dave and Kate, two of my friends from
England.
Yee. Yeehaw.
Yeah, so Brits in Greece, basically.
Yeah.
So first of all, thanks. Cheers.
Cheers. Yamas.
Yes,
Yamas.
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 Apple
Cheers.
juice is lovely. So we're going to talk about what it's like to live in Greece, strangely enough. And so I'm just going to ask Dave and Kate some questions and find out their story. Because, you know, you guys have been here a long while now, haven't you?
Well, I have.
Yeah. So we're going to do who, what, when, where, how and why. The same kind of structure as what we used with Frank and Timmy, and that seemed to work really well, and we seem to have lots of feedback, lots of comments. So don't forget to leave your comments below, and also check out below for other fantastic links and things like that. But let's just get straight into it. So let's start with who, and, you know, in traditional style, ladies first.
Okay. Well, I'm Kate, and I came to Greece almost by accident. It was a case of moving away from a bad marriage, basically, having an adventure, and well, my partner and I, we bought an old boat. And we worked on it for about a year and a half, something like that, and sailed away.
Literally just sailed away.
Well, literally, we motored away, to be honest, because we sailed across the English Channel, and then we went into the canal and river system in France, and so we motored all the way through France, and came out in Port Saint Louis in the Camargue.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that was our sort of first experience of moving away from the UK.
And if you don't mind me asking, was this last year or?
Andy, this was so long ago I can hardly remember. It was at the very end of the 80s.
87.
Wow.
Yeah.
87, wasn't it?
It was after the
97, 2000,
Yeah.
after 90s, oh yeah, 2000.
it was
2000.
after the big hurricane in the UK.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a time signature in British history, isn't it?
Yeah,
So-
everybody remembers that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
slept through it.
Uh,
Seriously. Woke
So-
up. What are all these fence panels doing on the floor? What are all these dustbins rolling around? Yeah.
no,
Carry on, darling.
so that was my first sort of, you know, experience of moving away from the UK. And then we just travelled, and basically we went, you know, they say go where the wind takes you, and that was sort of what we did, really. So we went down to Spain, and then across to the Balearic Islands, Minorca, and Sardinia, and Italy, down to the toe of Italy, and then across to Corfu. That was our first stop in Greece.
So suddenly you've gone from blustery, storm-damaged UK,
Yeah.
and then suddenly you're in Corfu.
Because this took about a year or so. We just went slowly.
You could have walked it in that time.
We just hopped, you know, we did it slowly. So yeah, that was what we did. And then from Corfu, we sort of got more into Greece, and and then you meet people and you hear about places and things that, you know, places to go and so on. So that was
your adventure. So a year-long adventure to
at
get
least,
into Greece,
at
and
least.
then.
Yeah.
So let's come back to that in a minute, because let's find out who. Let's start with
Right.
who.
I'm Dave. I originally came to Greece in 2005 with the intention of buying an old property and renovating it and eventually retiring. I was here for a week, and in that week I was persuaded to buy a piece of land and start a new build. And after 3 years I had a brand new house in the hills. Things took a turn for the worst around 2008, and I ended up on my own. Couldn't stand being in England, people feeling sorry for me, so I just emigrated to Greece. Very lucky, I got a job straight away, and I've been here nearly 16 years now. Met my beautiful wife. I had to say that. We've been together since 2009.
No. Oh yes.
Yes,
Yeah. And then we got married
2009.
in 2013. Yeah.
And that was a proper Gretna Green.
That was
Yes, it was.
almost.
You don't do
Yeah.
it by halves, do you?
That was
You know?
on a. We rode back on a 1700cc Giant Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
Rode up the Gretna Green. Got married. Then rode all the way back again.
Fantastic.
Why
Yeah,
not?
yeah.
Why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
So-
I'd still rather go on a motorbike than in a car, to be honest.
Yeah, it's more fun, I guess.
Yeah.
You know. So that's who. So we're going to do who, what. What? I don't know, however you interpret what. Say something about what. What do you do?
What do we do here?
What do you think? I don't know. Yeah, what?
Well, we both used to work in the boatyard.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a nice boatyard in Portahaley, which isn't there anymore. But I worked in the boatyard for a long time because I was a little sort of adept at the sewing business. So
Right, okay.
I carried a sewing machine on the boat all the time I was travelling. So if anybody needed any sail repairs or anything like that, I could do that. So I sort of, when I got to know the people in Portahaley and they needed somebody to do some sun awnings and some cushions and stuff, so I was there to do that.
Yeah, because that does sound quite crazy, doesn't it? Packing a sewing machine on your boat. But actually, when you think about...
Well,
And it's
it was a
sensible.
very wise
yeah,
move.
yeah.
It was wise because it was a hand sewing machine that my partner had actually put a motor on. But if I couldn't use the motor because I didn't have any electricity, then I could just do it by hand.
Wow. Yeah, yeah. So, it's
So that
actually,
was useful while we were travelling.
Yeah.
But then, of course,
Yeah,
when
yeah.
I started working in the boatyard, after a couple of years, we had big super duper machines.
Yeah.
So I was able to work on that.
And that was mainly sail
that
making.
was how, well, not sail making, sail repairs.
Sail repairs,
And
okay.
covers, cushions, awnings, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But that was how we met because I needed somebody to help me in the boatyard to lift these enormous great sails from time to
Yeah.
time. And I asked my boss if we could have somebody else, and he said, if you want somebody, you better find them. So I spoke to a friend who knew about him, Dave, and he ended up working in the boatyard.
I'd been in Greece for 3 weeks and I had to go back because I was going to lose my job. As I walked into my house, the phone rang. It's my friend in Portahaley. There's a job going in the boatyard. Phone this number. And it was her number. And she goes into panic mode. Oh, I don't know. You have to speak to Christian. And I said, well, who's Christian? And she said, oh, he's my boss. Spoke with him. And I ended up coming out here a week later. And I wasn't helping her.
No.
I was helping craning the boats in and out the water,
Yeah.
propping them up on the land, which I'd done for 10 years. And then when they built the marina, the craning operation stopped. So that was it. I was redundant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got benefit money for 2 years and now I'm retired. So
Yeah.
hopefully in 3 and a bit years' time, the British government will give me my pension, unless they put the age up again.
They can't do that now, can they?
I hope not. I hope
Yeah,
not.
we all hope that.
I'm
yeah.
banking on it, man.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's cool. So that's who, what. We were doing when, but we've kind of covered that. But give it another go. When? So
So for me, it was a long time ago.
yeah.
91, wasn't it? You actually ended up.
92, actually, in Portahaley. Yeah.
So you was 92, and
Yeah.
I was moved here officially 2008. Yeah,
Right.
November 2008.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's nearly.
And since then, Greece has been your permanent
Yes,
residency.
yes,
It's
definitely.
like there was no like 90 days here and 90
No.
days
No.
there, just
No.
flip flopping between. Because some people do that, don't
Yeah.
they? Some
Yeah,
people flip.
we were
flop
really
between,
lucky
but-
because, well, I was certainly lucky because I started off before all this, dare I say it, Brexit stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was allowed to, we just stayed here, we worked where we wanted, we travelled where we wanted, and that was
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
Now it's not so easy for people who want
No.
to come out.
But like
No.
yourself, you got your residence card now. You have to renew it every 10 years.
Yeah.
and you can stay here.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, Tanya and I were lucky as well because we got in literally 4 days before the deadline on the end of Brexit. But that was really difficult to get us because bureaucracy was invented at the same time as democracy in Greece, and it's not changed since, has it? So
that's one of the drawbacks of living in Greece. There's not many drawbacks, but that is one of them. The bureaucracy. It just goes on and on.
Slowly, on and on.
Like, as an example, I received benefits for 2 years, then it stops. You can apply for extra, but they means test you. There was no point in me applying. But once every 3 months, I still have to go to the CAP office with a piece of paper. She goes, gives me another piece of paper with another date on it. And I've said to her, why am I doing this? I'm not receiving any benefits. And she just shrugs her shoulders.
Yeah, it's a box ticking exercise for her, isn't it? Yeah. And the KEP office is like the local council office, isn't it? It's like the bureaucratic
everything.
To keep you in the system, I think.
You go to the KEP office and they'll issue you the relevant paperwork and then you take it to the relevant office. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't,
Well, it works eventually, doesn't it? But it's eventually.
You just got to be patient.
Yeah. So that's who, what, when.
Why?
So let's do why, and also let's do why. Who, what, when, where. Let's do where and why. So where are we and why here, and not Athens or Thessaloniki?
Right. Well, for me, it was simple because I had work in Portahaley. Well, we both did in Portahaley, and we were living there for quite a long while in different places. We moved from time to time, and then the last time we had to move, we found Portahaley was a little bit too expensive for us, and so we were looking further afield. And that was when a friend mentioned that somebody had a house here in Couverta, in near Ermione. And Ermione is so beautiful, you really don't want to live anywhere else. So we're 10 minutes away from Ermione, and we've got the sea right in front of us, birds, trees, quiet, peace. It's lovely, and that's why we're here.
Yeah. At the end, I will pan round so you can see the delightful backdrop that we're actually sitting in front of. You can't see it yet, but I will show it, and I'll just splice that in here. There. So that's who, what, when,
and
where, and why here. Dave, you.
We wanted to stay in Portahaley, and as Kate said, there's not that many long-term rentals available now. Everybody's doing Airbnb. And it's pricey. This property is 3 bedroom, detached, got aircon, got central heating for the winter. It's €500 a month.
Yeah, which is crazy cheap.
In England, in England, probably £1,000 a month.
Yeah, and the rest.
And as Kate said, we're 10 minutes from Ermione, 20 minutes, 25 minutes from Portahaley, 20 minutes from Crenedy, which is the main town, which has got all your medical requirements there.
Let's zoom out a bit from this area and sort of say where we actually are, because we're not on an island, are we? We're not in Corfu, we're not in Santorini or Mykonos or anywhere like that. This is actually the mainland, isn't it?
Southern Peloponnese.
The area is called Argolida.
We're about 2.5 hours from Athens airport, 2 hours from Athens centre. Not that I would recommend you going into Athens centre, because you won't come out again.
Takes a while,
Yeah, we're about 1.25 hours from Napoleon, which is the
we
original.
Absolutely love.
Yeah, which was the original capital city.
Yes.
Years ago.
Yeah.
We have Epidavros.
Yeah.
About 3/4 an hour from here.
Places of interest. Yeah.
And why here? And because Greece is huge, isn't it? I mean, it's a lot bigger than what people think, isn't it? Because people think it's just little islands, but it's not. The mainland is huge, isn't it? I mean, on one end you've got skiing in the winter,
That's right.
and on the other hand, you know, you've got Crete where it doesn't ever snow. So it's.
I think for Dave, you saw something on television.
Well,
did.
my late wife.
And that was what.
In 2003, 2004, there was lots of television programs in the UK about emigrating.
Yeah.
And my missus got a bee in her bonnet. Let's emigrate. Yeah, fine. I'll do as I'm told. And she found the Peloponnese on Google, and so we came out for a week in January, rented an apartment. Coincidence, it's a couple that owned the property here, and they only lived 10 minutes from us in England. So we rented their apartment, and I say we spent hours and hours driving around looking at plots of land. And bless her, my missus, every time, oh, this is nice. Oh, this is nice. And I said, Jan, you've got to make your mind up.
Yeah, you can't have them all.
No, but whatever you see, you'll see something better down the line.
Yeah.
You just got to accept, right, this is my bit. And the plot we found, the only thing she didn't like were the power cables. And my supervisor says, no problem, we can get them moved.
Yeah.
And the next time we come out, well, they're not there anymore.
Yeah.
They've been put down that way instead of going that way.
Right. So that's that sorted then. It's like, we'll have this one then.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was a deliberate choice to come to the Peloponnese. It was like, you know, we fancy that area because, and why Portahelly, Kate? Why did you end up in Portahelly and not on Porus or Egina? Or...
the thing is, when you're travelling, you meet other travellers, and someone will say, oh, because we were looking for work as well. So someone will say, oh, we had a job in the boatyard in Portahelly. Oh, did you? Where's that? And then you get all the details of these people, because the boatyard sort of took itinerant workers, if you like, you know, people who could work in the winter and then go off on their boat sailing in the summer.
Right.
And so that was why we stayed there. Yeah. That was perfect.
Okay.
And then things changed, and my partner went off, and I stayed, and I didn't want to move away anywhere else.
Yeah.
So that's why I stayed.
So that's who, what, when, where, and why. And I was going to do how, but I think we've kind of explained that, haven't we? We've kind of explained that, haven't we? So we've covered all bases there.
Yeah.
So, you know, this video is aimed at people who don't live in Greece, and if you do live in Greece, hello. Leave us a message in the comments below. But aimed at people who are thinking of moving to Greece, and it's kind of supposed to help and inspire people to do that, and listening to other people's stories and kind of understanding the complexity of it or the pitfalls. So I'm just going to throw this at you now. Okay, you didn't expect this question, but if you were going to say three things to people that were now thinking of leaving America or the UK or Canada or somewhere and moving to Greece, what would be your three pieces of advice?
Number one.
And I want three each.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Number one, it's a much more relaxed way of life.
That's what I was going to say.
I'll beat you to it. Number two, weather. Coming from England.
Yeah.
Number three, the cost of living.
Yeah.
As I previously said, 500 euros a month.
Yeah.
And that's the main three things for me.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
You're same as me.
I agree with that. Yeah. It's peace. Well, where we are, it's very peaceful. It's more relaxed. We don't have to spend enormous amounts of money on things. I think the cost of living as regards food and stuff is pretty much on par with England now.
Yeah.
I think it is.
I don't know because I don't do shopping.
You did when I was away. So I don't think you can say really buying food in the supermarkets is much cheaper. In some cases it's more expensive if you're buying things that you like from England, like Marmite and baked beans and stuff like that.
Sure.
You might pay a little bit more, But no, I think on the whole it is a cheaper way of life when you consider your rent, or even buying a property. It'd be cheaper to buy a property here now than it would in the UK or in any other country.
Yeah.
And we just love it. You know, you make friends easily here, and the Greeks are lovely people.
Yeah.
So I think that says it all, really.
Yeah.
What would be one downfall about moving here, or a problem, or something that you could say would present a difficulty? Because, you know, it isn't all roses living here, is there? You know, it's very easy to think that.
I can think of one thing, and especially I've just been back to the UK and with my sister, and she is an absolute dog lover. And the thing about dog lovers, if they come to Greece, they want to take all the strays home with them. They want to look after them all.
And the cats.
And you just can't do that. I mean, there are dog societies, there are rescue things here, but I think for people who are real dog lovers, they wouldn't like to see the amount of strays that we have on the streets, and cats as well.
Yeah.
Although some of the strays are well looked after. They just go from bar to bar to bar.
Yeah.
And they get fed and water, and they're quite happy.
Yeah.
But it's not, an English person can't understand that.
I agree with you there, and I also think that in places like the UK, we don't have problems with stray animals because we've got quite strict laws that are imposed to control them. So, like, if you see a stray dog on the street, you phone the council, and then the dog man's out comes and collects it in a van, and then that's the last you see of it. And you don't know whether it's rehomed or put down or something, so you don't ever see the end result of that. And with the cat thing in the UK now, it's just, I think it was this week, it was made law that you have to have your cat chipped.
That's right.
You know, whereas here there's absolutely no restrictions at all about how many you have or whether
you know that yourself. How many kittens do you have running around?
I could do 10 videos on that every week. I think is the amount of cats that we have and dogs. Okay, so that's one thing. Dave, have you got anything to add? Difficulties, things that, you know...
Not difficulties. One thing which really sort of winds me up is the cost of cars.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to buy a new car, you're going to pay about 20% more than you would in the UK because they're all imported.
Yeah.
If you want to buy a second-hand car, it's crazy. I bought a 12-year-old Opel. In the UK, that would cost something like £1,200, £1,500. I got it cheap from a friend. I paid €7,000. They're retailing at 9,800 for a 12-year-old car. On the plus side, for transport, road tax is cheaper, insurance is cheaper, fuel's cheaper than England, definitely diesel.
A little bit.
Diesel's definitely cheaper. Diesel's, 30 cents a litre cheaper than petrol here. Whereas in
England, don't know, because I've got a petrol car.
Unleaded was £1.48 when I was there.
Okay, so it usually rolls at around 190 in the UK, doesn't it? Or something, 180, 190. So.
I can't really think of anything else. You know, we touched on briefly. Health-wise, you've got all you can need here. And
the hospitals seem to be really good. You do have to have somebody, if you were going to have an operation, you really need to have somebody from the family or a good friend there with you, so they can bring you food and they can look after you, because there's not so much of that in the Greek hospitals, I don't believe. But I haven't experienced it myself, but this is what I've been told.
The medical care is brilliant.
I'll second that, actually.
We can go to the health centre with a problem and we're straight away, hospital. No, that's a 6-month waiting list.
No, there's none. That's correct. And I'll second that. It's every time Tanya and I have been to the health centre in Grenady, it seems to involve go and get an X-ray and get a full blood works done. Even if you go in with a cold, you know, you need an X-ray and you need some blood tests done, which is great because you always have a full MOT every time you go in there, even if you've got a sore elbow.
It's like a little club, isn't it? the health centre's the hub, and they feed you out
Yes,
to
to
either
wherever,
the bone
to the
doctor, the blood doctor, the
chiropractor.
chiropractor.
Yeah,
And
Yeah,
each time you
the
go,
physio
it's
and
40 or 50 euros,
Yeah,
but
You
it's
didn't
done
wait
there
in.
and then.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
done there.
yeah.
So yeah, I think
No,
that's about it.
it's great.
Cool. Anything else?
Plus side, eating out is cheap compared to England's,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
you know, drinking
Yeah.
cheaper in England, cigarettes cheaper
Oh.
in England.
Yeah. Well, we'll do a cost of living. I'm going to talk about the cost of living in another video, and when I eventually edit that, I'll put the link somewhere here, and in the description below. So, yeah, cool. Anyway, so I think that wraps it up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Nice. Thanks for your time.
No
Thanks
problem.
for coming and
You're
sharing your
welcome.
experiences and everything. That's really, really, really cool. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, email us at the email address below, which I can never remember, which is why I never say it. But we do check the emails. We do reply to as many comments as we can. We will be doing another question and answer thing soon as well, because we've got loads of questions out there. Patreon supporters, thank you so much for your help. Here's a list of people that support us on Patreon. We really appreciate all of your help and all of your input. And the most important thing is to be good and stay safe out there.